Florida sold the idea of sunshine and low costs, but today close to 1 million renters and many homeowners are overwhelmed by expenses they cannot meet. Insurance bills reach more than $10,000, rent consumes paychecks, and even holding 2 jobs is not enough to keep up. A state once known for bargain living has turned into a place where every day requires financial trade-offs. To see what went wrong, you have to look at the event that stunned the entire state. When FedNat collapsed in 2022, Florida's insurance market was thrown into chaos. Tens of thousands of homeowners lost coverage within days. Some had active claims that went unpaid. Many scrambled to find replacement policies. They were far from alone. More than a dozen insurance companies have left or gone bankrupt since 2017, pushed out by hurricane losses, legal expenses, and soaring reinsurance costs. Every exit pushed more people toward Citizens Property Insurance, the state-backed insurer of last resort for homeowners who cannot find private coverage. By early 2025, Citizens held more than 1.44 million policies, triple what it managed only a few years before. Its reserve fund sits near $15 billion, which sounds solid until you read internal reports warning that one bad hurricane season could wipe it out. If losses exceed reserves, Citizens are legally required to add assessments and surcharges to all its customers. In the worst case, the added cost could reach 45% of a homeowner's yearly premium. Even customers with private coverage are not protected. Emergency assessments can tack on another 10% statewide. Insurance agents around Florida have watched it all unfold. They deal with clients whose policies are canceled, not because of claims, but because their insurers are quitting the state. One Broward County agent spends entire weeks moving families to Citizens while warning them that rates there are climbing and coverage is limited. State filings show average premiums have doubled since 2019 in some counties, and non-renewal rates are up 280%. The cycle is clear. As more private insurers leave, Citizens absorb more risk. If a major hurricane hits, the losses would affect not just Citizens customers, but anyone with homeowner coverage. What was created as a safety net now exposes millions to surprise charges, while monthly premiums already strain household budgets. Picture a homeowner in Miami sitting at a kitchen table, holding a renewal notice from Citizens. The new yearly premium is $6,500. That is $540 more every month. It is higher than a car payment and more than groceries for a family of 4. It is impossible to fit into a teacher's salary or a mid-level office wage. Mortgage, gas, and utilities already take most of the income. A spreadsheet glows with red numbers because there is simply no room left. Last year's premium felt high but manageable. This spike feels unreal. You check the math again, hoping it is a mistake. It is not. Your choices are all bad. Cut food spending, skip medical care, delay car repairs, or think about leaving Florida. That single insurance bill could have covered kids' summer camp or a year of medicine. Instead, it dominates the budget. Families sit at dinner talking about what to cut. Streaming subscriptions, birthday celebrations, vet visits for the dog. Every dollar matters, and every month adds new stress. This is life for hundreds of thousands of Florida families. That envelope on the table looks simple, but it represents choices no one should have to make. For many, the question is shifting from whether they can afford their homes to what they are willing to sacrifice to keep them. Buying a home in Florida is no easier. The median sale price statewide is $488,500, with Miami near $680,000. Places once seen as affordable, like Orlando, Tampa, and Jacksonville, have seen similar jumps. Renters face the same squeeze. Nearly 95,000 low-income renters spend more than 40% of their earnings just to keep a roof overhead, putting them at serious risk of eviction if they lose a paycheck. Finding affordable housing has become its own job. Median rent in Miami sits around $3,000 a month. In Orlando and Tampa, typical rents fall between $2,100 and $2,300. Jacksonville, once a refuge for budget buyers, sees median rents near $2,000. Even smaller counties report a growing number of seniors and disabled renters struggling to keep up. This is not just a big city issue. It affects the entire state. Investors have made matters worse. Institutional buyers purchased thousands of single-family homes in recent years, especially in Tampa and Jacksonville, where investors bought more than a quarter of all properties. Many of these homes are now rentals or short-term listings, which raises prices and reduces entry-level options for families. Buyers have fewer choices. Renters face more competition and more displacement. Support systems are stretched thin. More than 100,000 households are on Section 8 waiting lists across the state, hoping for vouchers that may take years. In Miami-Dade, the waitlist has been shut for years, and the turnover rate is less than 1%. Most families must stretch whatever money they have and hope nothing goes wrong. Think of a commuter family. Their day starts before sunrise. Both parents drive an hour or more from the suburbs, dropping kids at school before going to work. Their rent eats up nearly 2/3 of their income. Even with 2 full-time jobs, there is no savings, no emergency fund, no quick pizza night to take a break. The calendar is filled with rent deadlines and reminders to search for a new apartment before another increase arrives. Housing used to provide stability. Now it feels like a moving target. A full-time tourism worker in Florida earns about $16 an hour. That brings in roughly $2,770 a month before taxes. But a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Miami costs about $2,350, leaving less than $450 for all other expenses before taxes. Retail workers average $15.50 an hour, and healthcare aides just under $18.50. Even in Tampa or Jacksonville, where a 2-bedroom runs near $2,000, the gap between wages and housing is hard to ignore. The National Low-Income Housing Coalition calculates a housing wage, meaning the hourly pay needed to afford a 2-bedroom unit without spending more than 30% of income. In Florida, in 2025, that number is over $28 statewide, and nearly $33 in Miami. The average renter earns about half that amount. A minimum wage worker would have to work 96 hours per week to afford fair market rent for a 2-bedroom. That means 2 full-time jobs, which is what many families are already doing. Families who commute feel it most. Parents in hospitality or trucking often drive an hour or more from far suburbs because they cannot afford city rents. Their combined income is gone before groceries, utilities, and car payments. A retail worker in Tampa earning $20,683 a month faces a $2,200 rent bill, which leaves just $483 for everything else. There is no safety net, no savings, no backup if a car breaks down or a child needs a doctor. This isn't limited to low-wage jobs. Teachers, office managers, and medical staff also struggle to meet housing costs. Hard work no longer guarantees stability. Every month, families decide whether to take extra shifts, move farther away, or accept crowded living spaces. Their pay stays constant while the cost of living goes up faster than any raise. Each new bill makes it worse. Monthly expenses in Florida show a steady rise in every category. Electricity costs, already high in the Southeast, have climbed almost 16% since 2021. Power companies say they need the increases to cover storm damage, grid updates, and higher fuel costs. Public records show these rate hikes get approved and then land directly on households. A family in Tampa now sees electric bills over $160 a month, even before summer heat. Water and sewer costs are climbing. Major cities have raised rates to fix old systems, serve more residents, and comply with new environmental rules. In Jacksonville, average water bills climbed 11% in 2 years, and more increases are likely as development expands. Food costs are also rising. Between 2021 and 2025, grocery prices in Florida went up nearly 20%, outpacing the national average. Staples like milk and eggs often cost more in tourist areas because demand stays high. A typical grocery trip for a family of 4 now costs $50 to $80 more each month than it did a few years ago. Auto insurance is another unavoidable cost. Florida has the highest car insurance rates in the country, with average premiums above $2,800 a year. Accident rates, lawsuits, and fraud all push prices up. Even safe drivers see their bills rise with no clear reason and few options. Every bill shows up like clockwork, reminding families that the cost of living isn't rising in one area, but in every area at once. Disposable income disappears and families lose any margin for error. Driving is essential in Florida because public transportation is limited. Even families near downtown areas must pay for cars, insurance, and gas. The average household spends more than $900 a month to keep 2 cars running. A single repair can force someone to skip a bill or borrow money. Other costs are less visible. Toll roads across the Orlando and Miami metro areas can quietly add $50 to $100 or more each month. People who move farther away for cheaper housing often find those savings erased by gas and tolls. There are also surprise fees. In 2024, a condo association in Palm Beach County held an emergency meeting because of insurance shortages. After a close vote, every owner got a notice of a special assessment. Each unit owed $18,000 within months just to replace roofs and meet insurance rules. Some buildings in South Florida have had assessments near $20,000 per household. These costs hit retirees and working families hard. There is no negotiating with a condo board. Bills must be paid. Residents talk about scraping together retirement savings or listing homes at a loss. Hidden costs don't appear on state tax charts. They show up as surprise toll statements, HOA emails, and invoices for repairs. Each one eats into whatever affordability Florida once offered. In Fort Myers, a retiree stands inside her damaged home after Hurricane Ian. Her diary is full of numbers because her insurance payout was short by $200,000. Building supplies that cost $20,000 in 2020 now cost more than $27,000, a 35.7% increase. Labor costs are up 20 to 25%. Every contractor quote grows higher than the last. On a fixed income, she cannot cover the gap. She lists her house, hoping someone can afford to finish the work. The market is full of similar stories. Nearly 4 in 10 senior renters in Florida now spend over half their income on housing. Some lose not just real estate, but the community they built over decades. NOAA data shows storm-related losses rising every year, but data cannot capture the pain of her diary entries or the sense that rebuilding is slipping further away. Many seniors are not just dealing with property damage. They are facing the reality that they may have to leave the place they thought would be home for the rest of their lives. Florida's uninsured rate sits at 11.1%, leaving about 2.4 million people without health coverage. Families already at their limit with rent and insurance can face financial disaster if they need emergency medical care. In Orlando, a hotel worker needed surgery for appendicitis. The operation saved her life, but the bill was more than $50,000 and arrived before she could return to work. She had no insurance or savings and no way to negotiate. Debt collectors soon began calling daily. These cases are common. Florida hospitals have some of the highest unpaid medical debt rates in the country. More than 8% of residents carry medical debt in collections. A single emergency room visit can destroy years of savings. Because the state did not expand Medicaid, many working adults fall into a gap. They earn too much for Medicaid but too little to afford private coverage. This leaves a growing number of residents one injury or illness away from financial collapse. Medical debt means ruined credit, lost homes, and less stability. Right now, more than 900,000 renter households in Florida live in unstable conditions, and the median home insurance premium has climbed over $6,000, the highest in the nation. Hidden costs keep climbing, and safety nets are shrinking. Survival has replaced stability. The discussion has shifted from who can afford to move to Florida to who can afford to stay. What does it mean when a once affordable paradise becomes too expensive for the people who live there? What is your view?